Hi, my name is Dr. Caxton, and for those of you that have listened and watched some of my videos, we are looking at the medical complications associated with a divorce. Today, I'm going to share a little bit with you about breast cancer. Controversial because we love a woman. God designed them to be beautiful and make it difficult for men to resist them. As I told somebody, I said, did you know that God didn't design men to be able to resist women? We were designed to just be able to fall in love with women over and over and over and again. And when we did what we needed to do, it would make the woman fall in love with us over and over and again. But since the fall in the Garden of Eden, things have changed. And things have gotten so bad that what you will consider to be the most attractive part of the female anatomy is one of the causes of death amongst women. About 40,000 women die every year in the United States alone from breast cancer. Now, what I want to do is show you a small connection. We can't do the whole thing here. When you come to one of my conferences, we'll be able to blow it out. You'll understand it better, either because you're an educator, whether you're the dean of medicine or a health educator, or you just want to do continuing education for yourself. You'd learn more at our conferences. But for now, I want to give you a hint of what happens when a person is divorced. Divorce is a life stressor. When you're divorced, when a person is divorced, it's considered to be an extreme situation psychologically, and it's called an SLE. SLE meaning stressful life event. Divorce is a major one. The only thing that's almost equivalent to divorce on this SLE scale, the Ray Holmes scale, is the death of a loved one. On that scale, divorce is about a 7/10, and the death of a loved one is about a 9+/10. So let's look at divorce from the perspective of why it can increase the risk of breast cancer. Number one, we know it's stressful. But not only is divorce stressful, a bad marriage that leads to divorce is equally stressful. Now, there was a journal published, an article published in December 1995, December 9, 1995, by Dr. Chen and colleagues. What they're looking at is the likelihood that a person who has gone through a major life event can develop breast cancer. And what did they find? They found that people who were divorced had at least a doubled risk of developing breast cancer. Just overall. And now, when they went even further, there's another study called the Finnish twin cohort study. When they looked here, they said it's also more than double. Wow. So people who were divorced, people who were separated in the Finnish twin cohort study had more than double the likelihood of developing breast cancer. When they went one additional step and said, let's eliminate all the other factors, age, menopause, and all these things, what did they find? They found that divorced and separated people, when they took into consideration all the other factors, they had about 11 times an increased risk of getting breast cancer. So most studies look at divorced people and married people. This particular one, I liked it, about 10,800 plus women. They looked at women who were divorced and women who were separated. Because, it's stress and an ugly marriage that pushes people away from the marriage. So divorce is just a final phase where you have a legal ticket saying, I'm free, if you really are free. Okay? But so divorced people and separated people, separated people are kind of mixed. Some people separate because they can't take the crap and they're not really going through a bad time. They just can't take the stuff that's being given to them. And in Ohio County, there was a study done showing that about 67% of those who initially filed separation papers for divorce got back together and did fine. So we're not using separation per se, but divorce. Divorce doubles the risk of breast cancer. But there's another thing I want to share with you. They found that when you look at people who have alcohol-related accidents. There were a lot more women who were involved in alcohol-related accidents. Okay? And when they looked at those women closely, they found that most of them were either divorced or separated. And as a matter of fact, most of them were divorced. So divorce through alcohol is connected to risk of injuries. Now, one classic injury that we afflict upon ourselves as an end point is suicide. Okay, we know that after a divorce, people are more depressed. More people go to a psychiatric facility. More people end up wanting to kill themselves. But suicide as an end point is an inflicted injury that terminates your life. So, using that extreme, let's look at the connection between alcohol and divorce. When you drink a liter of alcohol, 1 liter a day, there's a study, and I'm sure there are far more around that you can look at. Now, Google is here. We don't have to tell you everything. When you drink a liter or more of alcohol per year, man, their suicide rate increases by about, 10%. The suicide rate amongst women increases by about 3% in one study when they drink a liter of alcohol a year, when that increase occurs. But not only that, people who drink are more likely to commit suicide, but people who divorce are also more likely to commit suicide. The National Longitudinal Mortality Survey that I often quote shows that men are twice more likely to kill themselves than women, and twice more likely to die. They attempt suicide. But not only that, when you look at the population, here you see the divorce rates in a population when it goes up by 1 in 1,000. When the divorce rates goes up by 1 in 1,000 for population, the suicide rate in men goes up 35%. 35%. Whereas for women, the suicide rate also goes up when the divorce rate goes up by 1 in 1,000. So if there are 1 million people in a state, for example, in a city, and the divorce rate used to be 2.2 per thousand. If it goes up 1 point to 3.2 per thousand, okay, then the suicide rate goes up in men 35%, in women 25%. That's ugly. So getting a divorce increases the risk of what? Suicide. Now let's go on now. We've seen what divorce does, what alcohol does. What does breast cancer have to do with this? When people divorce, they want to drink. They drink their sorrows away. Okay? But we found out that there is a New England Journal study done earlier, in 1987, showing that there is a connection between the amount of alcohol that you drink as a woman. There was a study called the Nurses Cohort Study. And they looked at a lot of women, more than 10,000. And in that study, it was about 89,000 women actually. And in that study, they found out that if a woman drinks 5 grams of alcohol, for example, the risk of developing breast cancer goes up about 30%. If she drinks between more than 5 grams of alcohol to about 14 grams, it goes up to about 30%. If she drinks 15 grams or more, the risk of developing breast cancer goes up double, 60%. So instead of 1.3, this is the married person. The divorced person who drinks 5 grams to 14 grams, 1.3. The divorced person who drinks 15 grams or more, 1.